ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्पर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः विज्ञानं यज्ञं तनुते कर्माणि तनुतेऽपि च विज्ञानं देवाः सर्वे ब्रह्मज्येष्ठमुपासते विज्ञानं ब्रह्म चेद्वेद तस्माच्चेन्न प्रमाद्यति शरीरे पाप्मनो हित्वा सर्वान् कामान् समश्नुत इति तस्यैष एव शारीर आत्मा यः पूर्वस्य तस्माद्वा एतस्माद्विज्ञानमयात् अन्योन्तर आत्मानन्दमयः तेनैष पूर्णः स वा एष पुरुषविध एव तस्य पुरुषविधताम् अन्वयम् पुरुषविधः तस्य प्रियमेव शिरः मोदो दक्षिणः पक्षः प्रमोदः आनन्दात्मा ब्रह्मबुद्धं प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको भवति. This is the Vakya. This is where we are. And even though it may feel like we haven't made that much progress, we have made a lot of progress in terms of the Anuvaka, in terms of covering the content. We have made quite a significant progress, and it doesn't seem like that only because the each what is that called, each section, each kosha is quite involved and it has so many nuances. And we are slowly going from one kosha to another. And right now we are in the, which kosha are we in?
Vijnanamaya.
I'm glad we are all on the same page. Jnanamaya kosha. And after that, Anandamaya will come. And actually, it has moved quite fast, despite the nuances and then bringing out the meanings and the individual and the total connection, etc. It has moved quite fast because one thing that has been lacking is the presence of our Purva Pakshi, the object there. Now that is going to change in the Anandamaya because people don't understand Ananda very well, and so it can be the cause. And even now, in common Vedantic parlance, it is the cause of a lot of misunderstanding. Nobody knows what Ananda is, and Ananda is translated as what? Bliss. And then bliss, bliss, bliss. And then this bliss means what? Nobody knows. And then it seems to be some other kind of a happiness that is not available to the regular people. And if it is some other happiness, then how am I going to know it's even there? And how am I going to experience it? All these questions come up. And so that kind of a haziness with regard to what this Ananda is, and if Ananda is not understood, Anandamaya is even less understood, because what is this Maya here? Again, all that questions will come up. But we still have a little time for that, because we are now in the section talking about the Upasana. Upasana means the meditation on Vijnanam. How can you meditate on Vijnanamaya? Meditate on Vijnanamaya means it's not Vijnanamayoham. I am Vijnanamaya. I am my Kartritvam. I am my doership. That is not the understanding. That is not the what's its name? Um, that is not the meditation. What is the meditation? Vijnanamayam Brahma Ahamasmi. Everything is Brahman. This Vijnanamaya is Brahman. And that Brahman I am. This is the meditation. So that Yashti Samashti Bheda is there. This is not Jnanam. This is Dhyanam. Jnanam and Dhyanam are different. Sagunam Chet Dhyayet. Dhyayet. Nirgunam Chet Jnayet. This is a maxim that is there, and it was started by Adi Shankara himself. And this maxim says, if we are talking of Bhagavan, or the Bhagavan means in the form of Sagunam Brahma, in the form, with a particular form. Hiranyagarbha is also a form. I mean, very close to the formless, but still nonetheless a form. Shivalinga form. And Vishnu, all these things, Mahavishnu, etc., all of them are forms. And so, as long as we are talking of forms, then what are we talking about? We are talking about dhyanam. And the individual is submerging into the total. Submerging what? Ahankara. That is what it is. At least in this Vijnanamaya Kosha, the Ahankara is being submerged into the total. That total is recognized as Brahman, which of which Vijnanamaya is an expression. Vijnanamaya is an expression of Brahman, and that Brahman I am. That Vijnanamaya as Brahman I am. Vijnanamaya, as we saw, is the Karana, is Karanatma, and that is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means that Shakti, which is there, which is Bhagavan along with the Shakti, is called Hiranyagarbha, which is in a latent form, as as the universe is being the manifest, and it is a continually manifesting and demanifesting universe. And so this Hiranyagarbha, Aham Asmi, this Brahman as Hiranyagarbha, not even Hiranyagarbha, this Brahman as Hiranyagarbha, I am. This is the upasana. And this, why is this upasana or meditation given? This meditation is given to obfuscate and to lose the individuality, especially as this individuality pertains to regarding oneself as the agent of action, or rather pertains to seeing oneself as the author of action. Identifying as the author of action is the cause of sorrow, and so this upasana helps one to get out of that conundrum of thinking I am the agent and the perpetrator of actions, because that is fraught with sorrow. Why? Because the next step is, so every result of action is what? Is coming to me, accruing to me. And what is the result of action like? Not very nice. Causes dukkha, sorrow. causes conflict, causes pain, causes all kinds of issues, problems. And so, this is exactly the reason why the upasana is given. The upasana is to be able to press the override button, especially on this ahankara. The ahankara, the I notion, is targeted here because the I notion is the one that gets attached to, identified with kartritvam, bhoktritvam, etc. So, in fact, this will be the last upasana that we have. The Anandamaya section, the Anandamaya Kosha section doesn't have upasana at all. And so that's also very intriguing, and Bhashyakara is going to talk about that. But here, this is like the last upasana because you can't really better Hiranyagarbha. So it is the last frontier of forms, and this upasana is basically a deliberate prayer and an obfuscation, a dropping of the individuality as it pertains to Kartritvam. Very interesting, because the individuality is not really, is manifest in many different ways. It is manifest as raga and dvesha. It is manifest as so many things. But then here, what is targeted? What is targeted here is the individuality as it expresses itself with regard to identification with doers, because the individuality is connected to the body. We saw that Annamaya, then it is connected to the mind, Manomaya, etc. We have seen. But here, it's a particular iteration of this individuality as the author of action, which is in fact a mistaken notion. In fact, all along we have been dealing with mistaken notion. I am the body, mistaken notion. I am the mind, mistaken notion. I am the senses, mistaken notion, pranamaya. I am the mind, mistaken notion. I am the doer, mistaken notion. I am the experiencer, mistaken notions. So all these notions are tackling from the grossest to the subtlest. We are moving. And Hiranyagarbha is pretty subtle. You can't get much subtler than that. And so here Ishvara is talked about, and I, as the devotee, am asked in this Vijnanamaya Kosha to submerge my ego in Brahman in the form of Hiranyagarbha. So this is not jnanam, this is dhyanam. This is a meditation. Jnanam means what? That I already know. I am non-separate from Brahman. Whether it is Hiranyagarbha, whether it is Brahman in the form of Hiranyagarbha or formless Brahman, I already know. So once I know this, through the Ajnana Nirasanam, through the removal of Atma Ajnanam, once I already know this, then what? Then there is nothing to practice. Vedanta is not a theory and then there is practice. No, there is nothing to practice because I already have certain knowledge that, that I am not this body and I am not this mind and I am not this ego, this ahankara, etc., etc. If I already know, then there is nothing more to do. No practice is necessary because this is not a theory, so that then you sit at home and practice, just like a person does. You know for certain. What do you know? Everybody knows, hopefully. I am not a cat. I am not a cat. Everybody knows. So once you know, you have certain knowledge. You have nishtha. Jnana nishtha means certain knowledge. And what is that knowledge? I am not a cat. So then, after gaining this knowledge, what do you have to do? Nothing. You don't have to sit, you don't have to sit at home and do katopasana. What is katopasana? I am not a cat. Cat aham na asmi. You don't have to sit and do that. Although one man, according to a story told by Pujya Swamiji, had to sit and do that. He had a psychological problem. He was convinced he was a cat and insisted on just licking off his food off a bowl kept on the floor. Would purr when scratched behind the ears, and then would climb on everything and would meow when guests came and tried to sit in their laps. He thought he was a cat. And the wife and the children were sick of him, totally sick of him. They said, "What is wrong with him? What to do?" And of course, a famous psychologist came to town. And then, as the story goes, he was taken to the psychologist, and the wife was at her wits' end. The children were at their wits' end. And the psychologist said, "Can I spend some time with him alone?" "Oh, please take him with you. We don't want him back." "No, no, no, just half an hour will be okay. Please, sit in the waiting room." And then what happens? Then, after 15-20 minutes, he comes back. And the wife and children are surprised because he's not walking on all fours. He is walking straight. And, and the wife is so happy. She goes and hugs the psychologist. "Thank you, thank you. You have cured him." And the doctor says, "No problem." Not at all. Sometimes these things happen. I have given him an upasana. And what is the upasana? "I'm not a cat, it is upasana." And sometimes, and then the wife is worried. She says, "Will there be a relapse?" Well, not generally, but if there is a relapse, call me. And I will just give you a free phone consultation. We may need a couple of phone consultations. You will be just fine. Don't worry. Then take him home. 2-3 days go by very nicely. But then he refuses to resume going to office. He doesn't go out all the time. He looks underneath between the curtains and then quickly closes them. Looks between the blinds and quickly closes them. And then the wife, of course, talks to the doctor again and says, "I think he needs another session. Something is very wrong." "What's wrong?" Is he saying he's a cat?" "No." "Is he climbing on the furniture?" "No." "Is he clawing at the curtains?" "No." "Is he only insisting on eating cat food?" "No." "Then what's the problem?" "He refuses to go out." "Oh," the doctor says, "Oh, it's just a mild thing. Let me talk to him." And then the doctor greets him and he says, "Okay, what is your mantra?" "I'm not a cat, doctor. I'm a human being." "Fantastic. Very, very good. Now, if that's the case, why do you not go out? If you know this, why do you not go out?" "I know this, doctor, but I don't know if the dogs outside know this. That's why I'm not going out." Okay. So these are the limits of upasana. This story shows this is not jnanam. This is this is something that is got out of dhyanam. And so therefore this is the difference between jnanam and dhyanam, understand. And so therefore the dhyana means I have to rely on a visualization. I have to rely on some kind of an aid, whether it is repetition or whether it's a visualization, in order to understand something or in order to just believe it. Believe pending understanding with a shraddha. It's a visualization, it's a meditation, it is not knowledge. Okay. So this is the upasana that is given, that this Sarvagnyam Brahma, this all-knowing Brahman in the form of Hiranyagarbha, Aham Asmi, I alone am. I am not this body, not this mind, but I am this. So, being a karma, being an action, upasana is an action. Meditation is an action, a mental action, but nonetheless an action. So, being an action, of course, it will have results. There will be drishtaphala, there will be visible results, there will be adrishtaphala also, invisible results held in abeyance to fructify later on. And here in this section, what is the result of this upasana is given. First, it is pointed out that even gods, the gods means various celestials in the form of Indra and then Surya and then all these celestials, Yama, they all practice this Hiranyagarbha meditation, visualization, upasana. And because of Hiranyagarbha meditation alone, they became Jnanavan, Aishwaryavan, Jnanaishwaryavantaha Bhavanti. When did they practice this meditation? They practiced this meditation in Janmantare. Janmantare means in another birth, when they were in a humanoid or human birth or something like that, that kind of a birth, then only they practice this meditation. But then why is there? Then the question arises, why is there upasate? Present tense, simple present tense is given. So for that we have to find a meaning. And the meaning here is that yes, they did do this upasana in the past life, but now also they are doing this upasana. Here upasana means going with the flow. Later on, the Upanishad is going to tell us, Bhishasmadvatah pavate, Bhishodeti suryah, Bhishasmadagnischendrascha, Mrityurdhavati panchama iti. Later on, it will tell. As though out of fear of this Brahman, the wind blows. As though out of fear here means respect. As though out of respect for this Bhagavan, Hiranyagarbha Bhagavan, Ishvara, out of respect for Ishvara, and in the control of Ishvara, the sun rises. And Indra and Agni do their jobs. Whatever they are supposed to do, they do. The fire doesn't eat up a village unless Bhagavan wills it in a certain sense. And so, therefore, it is all under this Bhagavan, and then the worship of this Bhagavan, upasana of this Bhagavan by the various celestials takes the form of what? Takes the form of them doing their jobs properly. This is what we are also told to do in the 46th verse, a very famous verse of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Swakarmana means through one's own work, one worships Bhagavan and gains siddhi, gains karma yoga siddhi, accomplishes karma yoga, and then also gains siddhi in the sense of sarvatma bhava, in the sense of moksha. How? Where the karma becomes an indirect means for moksha. Karma yoga becomes an indirect means for moksha. So this is what is talked about. And here also, upasate indradaya, Indra, etc. Upasate means what? They worship by doing their jobs, by not questioning. The wind doesn't say, why should I go into these pairs of lungs? I don't want to go inside this lung. I've been going inside this lung. What has this person achieved? And then I'm not going to go in. That means what? Last breath. That's all. But the wind does not decide that. Neither does the sun never say, I'm not going to rise today. I forgot to keep the alarm clock. So I'm not going to wake up. It doesn't say that. And poor thing. And the sun also, we make him get up early by changing the time. Okay. And poor Surya Bhagavan, even Surya Bhagavan is not spared. And so, like this, all of them do their jobs. And their doing of their job itself is a upasana, a meditation. And so, as a result of this meditation, what has happened to the devas is pointed out here. Jnanavan, Aishwaryavan, bhavanti. Aishwaryavan, Jnanavan, Jnanaishwaryavantaha bhavanti. So, Jnanavan again does not mean knowledgeable in the sense of Atma Jnanavan. It is they are not having Atma Jnanam. I am Brahmaniti Jnanam is not there. Why? Because they are meditating I am Brahman. They don't have the knowledge yet. So, what is this Jnanavan? How do they have knowledge? What kind of knowledge do they have? Meaning they have more knowledge about the workings of the universe, about Hiranyagarbha, about all these things. They are much more knowledgeable than your average person on the street compared to John Doe. There is much more knowledge. Aishwaryavan again means overlordship. Overlordship here in I think it's the Tikakara has described it as one example of overlordship is Satya Sankalpavan. Satya Sankalpo Bhavati. Satya Sankalpaha means the one who wishes something and gets it in a trice. How do they wish something and get it in a trice? Everybody now wants to do this upasana because, hey, this is very, very nice. Just think of something and it is there. Desire something and it is there. How do the Indra how do they get what they want and how do they manifest this? They manifest it because they have the Satya Sankalpa. Satya Sankalpa means whatever they intend comes. How does it come? Because the raga, dveshas are not there to catch hold of the things they want and vitiate that particular desire with sangha, involvement. And with where the raga, dveshas are leading you rather than you leading them. Here the ahankara is submerged in this Brahman in the form of Hiranyagarbha. And so there is no I am separate from Brahman. There is no I want separate from Brahman. And in the course of this, whatever overlordship Bhagavan enjoys, it rubs off to these people also who are doing this upasana of Brahman as Vijnanamaya. This is very beautiful. So let us see the Bhashya and then let us talk about the explanation here. तस्माद्युक्तं विज्ञानमयः आत्मा ब्रह्म इति किञ्च विज्ञानं ब्रह्म सर्वे देवाः इन्द्रादयः ज्येष्ठं प्रथमजत्वात्. Jyeshtham means the eldest. Why? Prathamajatvat. Two explanations are given. Prathamajatvat means because of being the first thing that was ever born. Ishvara was born. No. Ishvara was not born. Ishvaratvam in the form of Hiranyagarbha was born. The ability to rule was born. The causality ascribed to Ishvara, that is what has a start date and an end date. It's an ascribed causality. It's not real. It's an as though superimposition. So that's one meaning. Sarva pravritti nam va tat purvakatva. Pravritti here means activities. The one that is behind the all activities, that is what is called prathamajam vijnanam brahma upasate. Dhyayanti. Again, present tense. Dhyayanti, not not jananti. Dhyayan. It's not that they know, but they visualize. तस्मिन् विज्ञानमये ब्रह्मणि अभिमानं कृत्वा उपासते इत्यर्थः. Abhimanam kritva means identifying with Vijnanamaya as Brahman, not just Vijnanamaya. And then Tasmat te Mahatah Brahmanah Upasanat Jnanaishwaryavantah Bhavanti. They have overlordship. Overlordship means what? They have some powers. They have a lot of powers. And then when this Vijnanamaya Atma is looked upon as the Samashti Vijnanamaya, and then Samashti means the total Vijnanamaya, Vijnanamayoham, Vijnanamaya Brahmaha Aham iti. This Ishvara, where there is that identification, which is a visualization. And last time we talked about two kinds of visualizations, two kinds of meditation, ahangraha upasana and sampatti upasana. Of these, the sampatti upasana is seen as a little less effective because you are looking, there is more of a distinction between the meditator and the object of meditation. The object of meditation may be a stone, but then in that stone, I am looking at and worshipping or thinking of visualizing Mahavishnu. And then so it's still a little remote than me. I can objectify the stone. But here it is much more subtle because I can't really objectify Hiranyagarbha. But then I sink my ego in this and then I include myself in this upasana. So it's called Ahangraha Upasana. In other upasanas, the Aham is left out. Yeah, but here, Aham is there as a bhakta where the bhakta looks upon something else, and that is what is called sampatti upasana, which always involves a deliberate sankalpa or a superstition. Okay, and then here vijnanan brahma upasate means it is a ahangraha upasana. And to show that, the Bhashyakara says that tasmin vijnanamaye brahmani abhimanam kritva. Abhimanam means a certain kind of an identification. Having made this identification, what is this identification? Saha aham iti abhimanam kritva. That Hiranyagarbha alone I am. Iti abhimanam kritva upasate. And the result of the upasana for those people, for the celestials, is pointed out first. Okay? And then the result of the upasana for the lowly mortals who want to engage in it will be pointed out later. But it's a similar one. And so, jnana ishwaryavantaha bhavanti. So, jnana ishwaryavantaha means a little more special, more knowledge. Because of the upasana, they draw from the source, from Ishvara, so more jnana, more Aishwaryam. Not total Aishwaryam, because total Aishwaryam only belongs to Ishvara. Not Samagram Aishwaryam, but little more Aishwaryam. They become Satya Sankalpa, etc., etc. Why? Because there is a maxim. What is the maxim? Yad bhavitam tad bhavati. Whatever you meditate upon all the time, you become. Oh, donut. If I'm meditating on donut, I'll become a donut? No, you won't become a donut. So meditating, that means you're eating also. You look like a donut after some time. That's all. And so this is the thing. So yad bhavitam tad bhavati. Whatever one visualizes, meaning the whole mind is all preoccupied right there. The force of all of one's attention, all of one's desires is right there. And so therefore what? So therefore, whatever you visualize, you get. You get. Of course, unless there are certain other inhibitive factors, whatever you visualize, you definitely get. And then if you're going to get that, then that means you become Aishwaryavan. That is the idea here. So whatever is visualized repeatedly, strongly, you manifest, you get. And so that is the magazine. So Parmeshwara, Bhagavan as Vijnanamaya is available, and then in the Vijnanamaya I see Ishvara, and that Ishvara is, you can tap into this Ishvara's grace by this Ahangraha Upasana. You draw from the source which is Ishvara for better knowledge, little more power. How? Through the karma phala. Because meditation and this constant and focused meditation is a punya karma. There is adrishta phala, and what is the drishta phala? Drishta phala is very simple. Your ahankara is deflated. That is the drishta phala. Ahankara, so, it's like each time you say Vijnanamaya Brahma, Aham Asmi. So it's like taking a pin and pricking the ahankara. You take the pin and prick the ahankara and let the little bit of air out. What were you doing before? You were just letting the ahankara air out. Now what are you doing? You're pricking the ahankara and letting the air out of the ahankara out. So it's just like, sometimes naughty children, what do they do? At least in India, when the cars are minding their own business and parked on the street, they will go and let the air out from some of the tires because these teenage boys, really. I've never seen, girl children do it or young children do it. They're kind of, between 10 and 12. This is something wonderful, 10 and 13 maybe. And they let the air out. They like that sound and they like inconveniencing the person who they don't even know. Who has parked the car there. So this is what one does to the ahankara. What does what does one do? One lets the air out. How? By subsuming it in that Vijnanamaya as Brahman. And Vijnanamaya Atma is Brahman iti. That there is a kind of a soham there. And so by subsuming the ahankara, the drishta phala, the immediate result of this upasana is that the air out of the ahankara is let out. It goes. And then what? And there is more freedom, more knowledge, more leisure, because the raga dveshas are not always putting a pressure. Do this, do this, do this, get this, get this, get this, give me, give me, give me. I want this, I want this, I want this. There is not that pressure. And so the raga dveshas leave one alone. You just enjoy the life. That is the idea. And so, and in this enjoyment, that is the drishtaphala, the ahankara is deflated and there is more happiness. The ahankara goes away to the extent it can. And when it does not trouble you, you will find something very interesting that Bhashyakara is going to say, along with the I notion as the karta, which goes away along as a result of this meditation. Along with that, some of your papa karmas also go away. Very interesting. But how do the papas go away? Because Adi Shankara makes a very brilliant statement. He says the papa is generated by what? By your actions. Papa is generated by your actions. And not just by your actions, by your owning up of the action. So the ahankara is very much involved in this papa karma. So papa is generated by you owning up the actions and saying, I am the author of this action. So the very interesting connection here is being pointed out between the ownership of the action and the authorship of the action and papa karma. Because if I do not follow dharma and I still say I did this, I managed to do this, and there's a lot of gadbad. There is so much gadbad, you just look and see everywhere there is gadbad. And then, you have to, we went here, some of us, to register one trust, okay, and for helping people. So I had to go to the registrar's office along with some of our trustees. And then when we went there, we had been given one person to help us see this all through. And then that person was just saying, you please come here, you sit here, you sign that, and you please go and talk to this one, talk to that one, and then show your face here. And then now we have to take your photograph, you have to take your fingerprints, biometrics, all these things. This was just, it just took some time, but it was done. And it was done much quickly than we thought. And then, in between that lawyer, that attorney that was assigned to us would disappear. Of course, you had to pay the fees and everything, and the fees were told upfront, this is how much it will take. And then that money had been transferred to him beforehand. He wanted it upfront, and it was given to him. And then, so whenever, we just were sitting there, and then we wondered, where is this person? So I just was tired of sitting in one place. So I thought, let me just walk around and see where did this man go. And then as soon as he saw me, he looked really nervous. He said, please go back and sit down. I'm about to do something I don't want you to witness. And I was very perplexed. I said, what is he going to do that he doesn't want me to witness? Then I asked some of the other people that were with me. And then what did we find out? That he had to grease the palms, everything under the table. And then miraculously, things get done. And so these are supposedly business ethics. I said, I don't mind waiting. You don't have to do this. No, no, no. You leave this to me. This is business ethics. Business ethics means what? This is not an ethics at all. There only should be one set of ethics. But unfortunately, we live in a time where this has become a norm. It's not his fault, poor thing. He did whatever he had to do. But the thing is, we live in this kind of a time where the ethics are separate for the business and separate for your family members, and this kind of a thing. And so here, that will not be there. That will not be there, because see, whenever we go against dharma, what happens? Papa is generated. Papa is generated. See, that's what I was trying to talk about also on that day. And then, then I think after that, there were no palms greased, because suddenly things took much longer. I think he stopped it. But then this is what it means, because what is Papa Karma? Papa means every time there is a wrong action, every time you go against Dharma, that Papa is created. Papa is created because there is a small ahankara wedded to a small effect and doing big Papa. That's what it is. Under the pressures of big raga and big dvesha. This is what it is. And that is what is Papa Karma. So here, there is no pressure of raga dveshas. This is very important to understand. So listen carefully. How the Vijnanamaya Upasana, Vijnanamaya as Brahman, that Upasana saves them from wrongdoing. This is an amazing section, really fantastic section. How does it save? Because the ahankara is not all over the place. The ahankara is not saying, I am the doer. The ahankara has given up doership. And under what circumstances has it given up doership? After mastering dharma. This we already saw in Manomaya. After mastering dharma and knowing the difference between dharma and adharma, that is how the ahankara is in upashamana has taken place. That's how the raga dveshas are managed, because they are put on a diet of dharma. Diet of dharma means what? Nothing exciting, at least in the beginning, because nobody wants dharma. Everybody wants, them. Everybody wants people to be dharmic towards them without necessarily them following them. This is what it is. And so here, the Drishtaphala is the Ahankara becomes small. Adrishtaphala is that all the Papa karma goes. What kind of Papa? Take a guess here. So we have three kinds of Papas, correct? What are they? Prarabdha, that with which one has come and has been embodied, and then Sanchita, a huge residue of karma out of which each life a little piece is broken off, and that becomes Prarabdha. And then Agami, the karma that you're going to do in this life, which is then going to join Sanchita, and then it is going to give you effects in this or future lives. So, of these three karmas, which one does the Vijnanamaya Maya Atma is equal to Brahman iti Upasana? Which one does this? Which one of the karmas does this visualization / meditation eliminate?
Agami.
Sanchita karma.
Agame.
Sanchita will go.
Agami. Okay. So we have Kotidvayam. We have a little disagreement in our ranks. So we have two possibilities. Sanchita.
I take Parabdha karma.
Agami.
Okay, now that was one was left. Now we have Kotitrayam. Three possibilities. One is it eliminates Prarabdha. Second, see the thing, and then second one is it eliminates Sanchita. Second contention. Third contention, third opinion that we have here is that it eliminates Agami Karma. See now, if Prarabdha, meaning that which caused this body to be born, is eliminated, that means the person will immediately die, will lose the body. All right. So nobody will be doing this upasana because of marana bhaya, because of the fear of death. So nobody will do the upasana. Okay. So the fact that there are survivors of this meditation shows that it is not going to clear the prarabdha. All right. All right. Sanchita. Sanchita is cleared by what? By jnana. Jnanam alone clears Sanchita. Why? Because with that Sanchita is built upon the spoof, this is me and I am accruing this karma and all these things. So this kartritva buddhi has to be eliminated. The karta as an entity is eliminated. Then the karma is also eliminated. All karmas are seen as though superimposition upon that atma, upon the I, that is totally and completely free of all superimpositions. For this, dhyanam cannot accomplish this. We need what? Jnanam. We need knowledge, not dhyanam, not visualization. Visualization will not do this. So then what is the answer? What does it eliminate?
Agami alone.
Hello. Agami alone. Agami means what I'm going to do now. Henceforward, what I'm going to do, and all that is eliminated. Agami is eliminated. I have the right royal road in front of me, free of agami karma, because no pressure of raga dveshas. Why? The ahankara has been dipped into Brahman. Yeah, like a chocolate, dipping. Strawberry is dipped into chocolate just like that. So that is like a chocolate covered strawberry. The ahankara is protected with this visualization. Aham Brahma iti. What kind of Brahman? I am Vijnanamaya Brahma. So the agami karma alone is eliminated because when the ahankara goes away, then what I am going to do now, that is what is impacted. I will not go against dharma. Because dharma is Ishvara. I have submerged my I-ness into Ishvara. And by contrast, the one who has this small ego separated from the whole, then that is the person who wants to get something done under pressure of ragadveshas. And here, the more, I keep saying this, in the more Ishvara in your life, let there be more Ishvara in your life. If there is more Ishvara in your life, that means there is less of you. This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. Let there be more and more of Ishvara. Means less and less of Ahankara. And less Ahankara means less Papa. And less Papa means what? Less Dukkha. First of all, there is no Dukkha because I am with Dharma. And following Dharma itself gives a certain happiness. Okay? And then there is less Dukkha. And then there is more adrishta. What is that? Then more adrishta, more and more adrishta. Adrishta means the good karma gets piled up because you're not doing anything bad. And that will lead you to the long term, the second effect of this upasana, which is that after the dropping of the body, deha patanat anantaram, after the dropping of this body, you will become just like Indra or Surya or Yama or one of the Devatas. You will be appointed the next Indra perhaps. So that is the more Indra the positions such a person gets great position. Tasmatte jnana aishwaryavantaha bhavanti upasanat. Because of the upasana. What kind of upasana? Not a simple small devata upasana, little puja. No. It is just a full, I am the entire Hiranyagarbha. That kind of a big upasana. Because yatha upasate, yatha then tatha bhavati, tatha bhavanti. So whatever you visualize, you tap from the source, and then what? You go for the biggest one, Vijnanamaya Hiranyagarbhoham. Hiranyagarbha is the Karta, Srishtikarta. Go straight to the Srishtikarta, and then what? And then you, with the blessings of this Ishvara in this form, Upasanat Mahataha Brahmanaha Upasanat. So Mahataha means this Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha Brahman as Hiranyagarbha iti visualization, because of which then this is the Sarvakaranam Brahma. I mean Karya, of course, because it is Prathamaja, but relatively speaking, empirically speaking, it is Sarvakaranam. Mahato Brahmana Upasanat Jnana Aishwaryavantaha Bhavanti. And then further it says, it says something else which is very pertinent here. So if this much is understood, let us go further. Taccha vijnanam brahma chet yadi veda vijanati. Chet means if. And the word if is put because this is indeed difficult to do. To be submerged in Brahmopasana day and night in this kind of a visualization with a kind of seriousness, and all this is not easy to do. Correct? And so, as a result of that, as a result of this upasana, what happens? That's why it is said, Chet Veda. If somebody understands, knows what knows, Veda should be taken as upaste. Meaning we have to see the Veda means doesn't know, but it is upasana. So the one who does this upasana nirantaram all the time, and then so this is dhyayam, okay, and then this is dhyayam, and then what is dhyayam? Sagunam dhyayam, nirgunam jnayam. Dhyayam means that which is to be meditated upon is Ishvara. That which is to be known is Brahman, Nirguna, formless. So then this is the This is what it's involved. So Taccha Vijnana Upasanat, Vijnanopasanat, Jnanaishvaryavantah Bhavanti. Tat Vijnanam Brahma Yadi Chet Veda Vijanati. If the person not merely upasate, not merely meditates upon, but what? Brahma chet na pramadyati. Pramadyati means falls off, slips off. Due to what? Due to lack of shraddha, due to distractions, due to some, something happened. Oh, I can't handle it, so I'm not going to meditate on this. So I'm going to take a few years off of this. So this is what is called pramadanam. This is called pramada. Pramada in certain Indian languages, pramadam, especially in Tamil, pramadam means wonderful. But here it is not wonderful. Pramadam here in Sanskrit has a different meaning. Pramada means it is a travesty, it is a slippage, either out of distraction or out of slothfulness or out of tamas, which is again a form of slothfulness, I suppose. The person slips away. So becomes a kabhi kabhi visualizer. That is not enough. Kabhi kabhi means sometimes, sometimes. So that is not enough for this upasana. If you are serious about getting Indra Padam, Indra's position, then one has to guard against that slippage. Thank God we don't have to become Indra. Woohoo, wonderful. A big weight is off the head because all the people taking this Taittiriya Bhashya do not want to be Indra. All right, they want to sit here and know that they are one with Bhagavan. They don't want to go places. They don't have wanderlust. They don't want to go to, we don't want to go to Brahma Loka, this Loka, that Loka, and here and become loco. Okay, so we don't want all that. So thank God, because if you really want to go to Brahmaloka, then better start tearing out your hair in clumps right now. All right, that is if you have hair. If you don't have hair, you are spared. But still, it's very difficult, very very involved. There is a lot going on, and there is just so much to think about and so much to do. And here the Upanishad tells, na kevalam veda eva, na kevalam upaste, but what? Na pramadyati. Na pramadyati. They should not just be visualizing, but they should visualize flawlessly. How is that even possible? That's why Indra's position is very, very secure. No need to worry for Indra because nobody is there to catch a hold of his position. So they very, very secure he is. So there should not be any kind of a distraction, slothfulness, indifference, which is called pramada, which is this kind of a slipping. No tamas, no rajas, nothing. So therefore, Bhashyakara says a few things. Na kevalam veda eva, tasmat brahmana chet na pramadyati means from that Brahma visualization, if they do not slip away, na pramadyati chet, if they don't slip away. Why? Upasanayaha daurbalyam asti. The visualization, the meditation can become weak. And why? Because if that person doesn't have mental strength, so then and then why does the meditation become weak? He gives a very nice response. Bhashyakara. Bhahyeshu api anatmasu atmabhavitatvat praptam. Beautiful. Bhakyeshu means if the person has Bhakyeshu means in that which is outside. What is that? Dehadishu, in the body, etc. Anatmasu. The Anatmasu means in everything that is not Atma. In everything that is not Atma, what does the person have? Atma Buddhi. Anatmasu Atma Bhavita Buddhi yadi chet tat pramadam. Tat pramadam iti uchyate. That is what is called pramadam, slippage, weakness, daurbalyam, slothfulness, rajas, tamas, etc., indifference. Why is that called that? Because suddenly, even though one is very nicely on a nice roll of visualizing what? Aham Vijnanamayam and Vijnanamayam Brahma Aham Asmi iti, this upasana, suddenly what happens? Suddenly one gets a bout of longing for banana chips or something like that. And then I want chips, I want this, I want that, I want to go here, I want this in my life very badly. So that want, what does it do? It makes one go away, as it were. It makes one go away. And of course, isn't everything Atma? Everything is Atma, but do you know that? No. You are the one saying, I want banana chip. All right. You have the chip on the shoulder for the chips. You are the one that is saying, I want banana chip. And when you say, I want banana chips, that means you are regarding the banana chips as outside of the eye. That's why you want to become one with that. So you are the one that is regarding it as anatma, not the bhashyakara. All right. Of course, everything is atma. If you are able to understand that, if you are able to visualize that and live in that rubric, then it is okay. But otherwise, it is what happens. The strength of the upasana gets weakened because if the person keeps on slipping, this is the slippage, slips to anatma buddhi, anatmani atma buddhi. So, in everything that is not I, the person still, because of the force of the raga and dvesha, develops some kind of an attachment, develops a longing, pursues that longing, then this visualization goes, becomes affected. That is the idea. And so, therefore, Bhahyeshu means anything external to this Vijnanamaya. That is such as the body, prana, manaha, everything. And so the body again, body also, but that also putra, mitra, dara, etc. Spouse and child and house and everything. Putradishu api anatmasu bhahyeshu atyanta bhahyeshu means become either a little bit bhahya like the body, etc. or atyanta bhahyeshu means totally external to oneself, etc. Atmasu, anatmasu, in everything that is not Vijnanamaya, then Atma Bhavitatvat Praptam. Previously, what was there? Atma Bhavitatvam was there. Anatmani, Atma Buddhi was there. Anatma was taken to be Atma before. This is what is being corrected by this visualization. So, anything other than this visualization is a slippage from that visualization. And so, therefore, Anatmasu api Atma Bhavitatvat Vijnanamayat Bhakya. So, anything other than the Vijnanamaya as Brahman, this bhavana is disturbed. And then if it is disturbed, then what happens? So this is then the pramadanam takes place. Vijnanamaye brahmani atma bhavanayaha pramadanam. Atma bhavanayaha pramadanam. What is pramadanam? Indifference, slippage. And then the indifference of one's own lot and whatever problems there are there, etc. Therefore, the indifference where Vijnanamaye Brahmani, Vishaya Saptami. So, with reference to Vijnanamayam as Brahma, Atma Bhavanayaha Pramadanam. So, that in this Brahman, in the form of Vijnanamaya, then what is there? this Vijnanamayam Brahma Ahamasmi iti. In this visualization, there is that in this Ahangraha Upasana, in this in this visualization where the I is involved, there is an obstruction, slippage, obstruction, an inhibiting factor has come. Pramadanam praptam. Inhibition praptam. That is inhibition is good. So then once this inhibition has come, then what will happen? Ataha tan nivrityartham uchyate. So this pramadanam has to be negated. And therefore we cannot say just because you meditate you get everything. So tasmat chet na pramadyati. So the indifference has to be negated by the word na pramadyati, meaning it's not just upasana once in a while, but it is that there is a nairantarya. There is a visualization has a non-endingness. As long as the body is there, this visualization is done. One keeps submerging with a lot of vigilance the I notion in the Vijnanamaya Brahma, and then so therefore then if they don't slip in this not understanding in this visualization, then what happens? Then it constitutes a valid upasana, a valid meditation of Sagunam Brahma. Ishvara is meditated as non-separate from Vijnanamaya Atma. That is there from the Vijnanamaya, who is the meditator? That is the idea. Vijnanamaya is the meditator. The truth of the Vijnanamaya is meditate. If this kind of a meditation is there without slippage, then what? Then there is the tasmat che, then there is no inhibition, no pramada takes place. All that is there is only a pravaha, a flow of vrittis, thoughts. What kind of thoughts? Sajatiya vritti pravaha, a flow of similar kinds of thoughts or same kinds of thoughts. Aham Vijnanamaya, I am this Brahman which is Vijnanamaya. I am this Brahman which is Vijnanamaya. Like this, there is a sameness of the thought. And so when that happens, then there is no inhibition. And when this Pramadanam is not there, then only you get the phala of the upasana. And so then what kind of, what kind of phala do you get further? This, this is so first he explains the phala you don't get because anatmani atma bhavita buddhi, because one has slipped into considering everything as other than oneself. That is the problem. But then if you do this properly, then what happens? Annamayadishu atma bhavam hitva kevale vijnanamaye brahmani atma bhavan bhavayan aste chet ityartha. So if there is no pramadanam, if there is no slippage, what will your upasana look like? Adi Shankara is going to tell us this in this sentence. Very, very beautiful and very helpful. Because now we know what slippage looks like. Okay, we should also know what this non-slippage looks like. And this is what he says. Annamayadishu, starting from Annamaya itself, Atma Bhavanam, Atma Bhavam Hitva. Hitva, losing the I notion with regard to the body, with regard to the prana, all the other koshas. Annamayadishu means Annamayadi kosheshu. So, with regard to all the koshas, losing the I-ness in Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, etc. And then Annamayadishu, Bhashyeshu, and we have to bring in that Bhashyeshu also, which is all outside of oneself, Putradishu, children, house, spouse, etc. Then this is the Hitva, Atma Bhavam Hitva. Hitva means losing, removing, dissolving what? Atma Bhavam. I am as good as the body. I am as good as my child. I am as good as my spouse. I am as good as my house. I am as good as what I eat. All this losing that. Losing that. Why? Because the person in the beginning, this is what they thought. They thought, I am as good as the body. But now they know better, having gone through Annamaya Kosha study, up to Vijnanamaya. What do they know? Deha Vyatirikta Atma Asti. There is Deha Vilakshanaha. So that there is something separate from the body. And that is the person endowed with Shraddha. And that is the person, therefore, that is the person who is endowed with Shraddha. That is the person who is, who is the Karta and the Bhokta. And if the Karta submerges the Ahankara into Vijnanamayam Brahma, then what happens? Sharira Patanantaram Bhokta Bhavati, then goes somewhere and then gets all the goodies of this upasana. That is what it is. So you get all the goodies of the upasana, but for that, the I notion in everything else other than Hiranyagarbha must be gone. Anatmani Atma Buddhim Hitva. It is said. Hitva means having given up. Having given up that, then what happens? One gains Sarvan Kaman Samashnute. Sarvan Kaman means all the desires were not while in the body. After the dropping of the body, Sarvan Kaman Samashnute. How? We'll see tomorrow. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ